Hi there, and welcome back to LeanReads, the channel where we share powerful insights and personal growth lessons through great books. Have you ever paused and wondered if the world you see is truly real or just a creation of your mind? In today's video, we're diving into What Does It All Mean? By Thomas Nagel, a fascinating book that challenges our deepest assumptions about life, knowledge, and free will. If you enjoy what you hear and want to dive deeper, we've included a link to the book in the description below. Now, let's get started. First published in 1987, What Does It All Mean? Takes readers on a journey into some of philosophy's deepest and most enduring questions. Rather than offering rigid doctrines or abstract technicalities, Nagel presents philosophy as an open invitation to think more clearly about life's mysteries. The book tackles fundamental ideas such as the nature of reality, the reliability of knowledge, and the problem of free will. It does not merely challenge what we think we know, it expands our perspective, encouraging us to reflect on existence with fresh eyes. By grappling with these timeless questions, readers sharpen their critical thinking and cultivate a deeper appreciation for human experience itself. Thomas Nagel, 1937, is a renowned American philosopher, widely respected for his contributions to ethics, political philosophy, and philosophy of mind. He is the author of influential works, such as Mortal Questions and The View from Nowhere, both of which continue to shape contemporary debates in philosophy. Nagel's essays and books are celebrated for their clarity and depth, presenting complex philosophical issues in a way that stimulates reflection without oversimplifying. His work has played a vital role in broadening the horizons of modern philosophy, making him one of the most important thinkers of the 20th and 21st centuries. At some point, we've all paused to wonder about the true nature of the present moment we are living in, or questioned whether our daily experiences are as real as they seem. Such questions have fascinated philosophers for centuries, and Nagel's book brings them directly to the reader. He invites us to ask, how can we be sure the vast world we perceive each day is truly real, rather than a construct of our own minds? This is just one of many profound puzzles the book explores. Nagel guides us through fundamental issues such as the nature of reality, the existence of other minds, and the meaning of free will. Each chapter opens a door to questions that unsettle our everyday assumptions and expand the way we see ourselves and the world. Engaging with these philosophical puzzles is not a dry academic exercise. It is a way of training the mind to think critically, to question inherited assumptions, and to recognize the richness and complexity of human life. Nagel's book is both a gentle introduction and a bold challenge. It reminds us that philosophy is not about memorizing theories, but about learning to look at life differently. By doing so, we not only expand our intellectual horizons, but also deepen our sense of wonder and appreciation for the world we inhabit. How can we ever be certain about anything beyond our own thoughts and experiences? This puzzling question has haunted philosophers for centuries. If you think carefully, the only thing you can be absolutely certain of is the existence of your own mind and whatever it contains. Everything else, the external world, the people around you, even your physical body, could, in theory, be an illusion or a construct of your imagination. At first glance, this seems bizarre, but the idea is more plausible than it appears. After all, our entire understanding of reality is filtered through the senses and then interpreted by the brain. Consider this scenario. What if your entire life so far has been nothing more than an elaborate dream, or a highly sophisticated simulation? How would you distinguish illusion from reality? You might try to test the world by touching objects, or asking others to confirm your experiences. But those sensations and interactions themselves could also be inventions of your own mind. In the end, you can never truly step outside of consciousness to verify anything out there. This line of reasoning leads to a philosophical position known as solipsism, the idea that only your own mind can be known to exist with certainty. Few people fully embrace solipsism, yet it remains a logically consistent position that cannot be completely disproven. A more moderate stance is skepticism about the external world, which argues that we can never be fully certain of what lies beyond our minds. Of course, most of us do not go about our daily lives doubting the existence of the world around us. We have a deep, instinctive trust in an external reality, and it is almost impossible to shake off that belief. Still, reflecting on these questions can be valuable. They encourage us to approach our convictions with humility, reminding us to remain open to new perspectives. The next time you interact with the world, pause for a moment to marvel at the sheer wonder of existence. Ask yourself, what if everything I know is just a product of my mind? This mental exercise may not give you certainty, but it can deepen your appreciation for consciousness and awaken a profound sense of awe toward life itself. Now let's turn to another timeless puzzle, the mystery of other minds. How do the thoughts and feelings of others compare to your own? Philosophers have long wrestled with the question of whether we can truly know what it is like to be someone else. Imagine sharing a bowl of chocolate ice cream with a friend. You might assume you are both enjoying the same sweet flavor. But what if your friend's inner experience of chocolate is closer to how you experience vanilla? Or what if it is something entirely beyond your imagination? Sadly, there is no way to directly compare private, subjective sensations. The same puzzle arises with color perception. The bright red of a fire truck that you see might be experienced as yellow by someone else. They still call it red, only because that's the label they were taught. Biology may suggest that humans have similar visual systems, but that assumption rests on your own limited perspective. A skeptical philosopher might point out that you can only ever have direct access to your own sense data, the rich interplay between your senses and your mind. Extending those experiences to others is ultimately a leap of faith, not a certainty. Pushed further, this reasoning leads to a startling thought experiment. What if the people around you are not conscious at all? What if they are incredibly sophisticated robots, machines that act as if they had feelings and experiences, but are in fact empty inside? This idea sounds unsettling, even absurd. In ordinary life, we naturally believe that others are conscious just as we are. Yet the fact remains, you cannot prove it beyond doubt. Rather than descending into paranoia, though, this puzzle points us toward a humbling truth. The depth of another person's inner life is ultimately unknowable. It encourages us to meet others with both curiosity and respect. Their minds may be more different from ours than we realize, but that very difference is what makes human relationships profound. The next time you look into someone's eyes, pause to appreciate the invisible mystery of consciousness you are facing. Even if you can never fully understand it, acknowledging that hidden world can foster empathy, humility, and a deeper sense of connection to those around you. Imagine standing in front of a tempting dessert counter, torn between a decadent slice of chocolate cake and a ripe, golden peach glowing under the light. This ordinary moment touches on one of philosophy's most enduring questions. Do we truly have free will? The core issue is deceptively simple. Are our choices genuinely our own? Or are they determined by forces beyond our control? Take that choice of the chocolate cake. Was it really your decision, or was it shaped by your upbringing, your genetic makeup, and the state of your brain at that moment? Determinism argues that every event, including your decision, follows inevitably from prior causes. If this is true, then your choice was effectively programmed by a chain of events stretching back long before you reached the counter. This idea can feel unsettling, as though it strips away your sense of personal autonomy. But what if determinism isn't true? Suppose randomness or chance enters the equation. Does that randomness suddenly give you genuine freedom? If your choice were purely accidental, not guided by reasons or values, could it still count as an expression of free will? This dilemma sits at the heart of debates about responsibility, morality, and human behavior. If every action is determined or merely random, on what basis can we praise someone for doing good or blame them for doing wrong? The stakes extend far beyond philosophy classrooms. Questions of free will affect how we think about justice systems, moral accountability, and even self-improvement. Yet, despite these puzzles, many of us still feel deeply and intuitively that we do make real choices. When you resist a temptation or push yourself toward a goal, you experience it as exercising free will. This tension between lived experience and abstract theory is part of what makes the debate so fascinating. Next time you face a decision, big or small, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, am I truly exercising free will, or am I simply acting out a script written by the universe? Exploring questions like this doesn't provide easy answers, but it can give you richer insight into your own nature and what it really means to be human. Picture yourself on a quiet night shift in a library. The air is still, broken only by the echo of your footsteps between tall rows of bookshelves. Just as you are about to lock up, a close friend arrives with a peculiar request. They want you to secretly take out a rare book, skipping all the usual borrowing procedures. What seems like a simple situation quickly unravels into a web of difficult moral questions that philosophers have debated for millennia. Morality isn't just about following laws. Condemning theft is easy, but the roots of ethics run much deeper. In this scenario, helping your friend might trigger a pang of guilt, not only from a sense of loyalty, but also from an innate awareness of fairness and compassion toward others. You might pause to consider the larger consequences. If you comply, other readers lose access to valuable knowledge, and you betray the trust of your supervisors. The ripple effects extend far beyond the immediate act. But what if your friend dismisses these concerns and insists only their needs matter? This is where ethics becomes truly interesting. The timeless question, how would you feel if someone did this to you, isn't just rhetorical. It is an invitation to step into another's perspective. Empathy is the key. When you imagine yourself as the victim, you may feel anger, disappointment, even a sense of betrayal. Recognizing these emotions affirms a universal truth. Everyone has reasons to care about one another's interests, even strangers. And if you expect others to respect your feelings, logic demands that you extend the same respect in return. This reciprocity forms the foundation of morality. Ethics is not blind rule following, but an acknowledgement of shared human value and the impact of our actions. Of course, balancing self-interest against the interests of others is rarely simple. Few people embody perfect altruism, and some even question whether complete selflessness is possible or desirable. Still, reflecting on fairness, empathy, and responsibility helps us understand ourselves and our world better. It guides us toward choices that are not just convenient, but thoughtful and meaningful. Nearly everyone has, at some point, paused to contemplate death. It is both an inevitable human experience and one of philosophy's deepest mysteries. You might feel curiosity, unease, or fear. These emotions are natural. But exploring different perspectives on death can lead to profound clarity. One view sees death as simply the end of existence, the permanent cessation of consciousness and self. At first, this idea may seem frightening, but it raises important questions. Can you really imagine not existing? In truth, the mind struggles to do so, because imagining requires existence. Still, from a more detached angle, we can approximate non-existence by thinking of dreamless sleep or unconsciousness. If the mind is fundamentally tied to the physical brain, as many scientists believe, then when the brain ceases, so too does subjective experience. Alternatively, if the mind can exist independently of the body, then a variety of afterlife possibilities remain open. But let's set aside metaphysical speculation. How should we relate to our finite existence? Should death be feared, welcomed, or regarded as neutral? There is no universal answer. Some see non-existence as neither good nor bad, merely neutral. Others focus on the loss of future joys, which makes death appear negative. Still others view it as liberation from suffering, monotony, or struggle. Reflecting on death, paradoxically, can enrich our appreciation for life. By confronting our mortality, we may live more intentionally, cherishing relationships, savoring moments, and prioritizing what truly matters. Death will always retain its mystery, but thinking about it can deepen our wisdom and sharpen our sense of what it means to live fully. Throughout this journey, you may have realized that the great philosophical questions about the nature of reality, the existence of other minds, and the meaning of free will deeply challenge our everyday assumptions. These discussions remind us that our perceptions may be little more than illusions, and that the external world might not exist independently of our consciousness. Solipsism insists that only your own mind can be known with certainty, while skepticism raises doubts about the reliability of everything that lies beyond it. Engaging with such profound reflections invites us to treasure the mysteries of life and to cultivate intellectual curiosity. They push us to think more carefully about the world around us and our place within the vast universe. In the end, contemplating these philosophical ideas not only expands our knowledge, but also enriches our outlook on life, deepening the way we experience and appreciate existence itself. Reading Thomas Nagel's "What Does It All Mean?" felt like sitting down with a wise teacher who gently but firmly nudges you to look at life from angles you may have never considered. What struck me most is the simplicity of the writing paired with the depth of the questions. Nagel doesn't try to overwhelm the reader with heavy jargon or complicated arguments. Instead, he invites you into the heart of philosophy through everyday examples, choosing dessert, imagining other people's inner lives, or contemplating death. The most powerful aspect of the book, in my view, is its ability to shake the ground beneath what feels most obvious. We live day to day assuming that the world outside our minds is real, that others experience life much like we do, and that our choices are freely made. Nagel forces us to pause and admit, none of these assumptions are as secure as they appear. This realization doesn't necessarily lead to despair, but rather to humility. It reminds us that much of what we take for granted is actually fragile, uncertain, and worthy of deeper thought. What I found especially inspiring is how the book demonstrates the value of philosophy itself. Nagel shows that philosophy is not about delivering neat answers, but about cultivating better questions. Wrestling with doubt about knowledge, morality, or mortality can make us more thoughtful, compassionate, and aware of the richness of human experience. For me, the book underscored that philosophy isn't an abstract game. It is a vital tool for living a more reflective and meaningful life. Ultimately, what does it all mean? Left me with a renewed sense of wonder. Instead of closing the book with final answers, I closed it with sharper eyes and a more curious mind. That, perhaps, is the greatest gift Nagel offers. The reminder that asking why and what if is not a distraction from life, but one of the best ways to fully embrace it. Philosophy doesn't always give us answers, but it helps us live with greater awareness. If this video sparked new thoughts for you, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who loves to think deeply. Until next time, stay curious.